Welcome back to another episode of the Talk Your Shit Sports Podcast. Welcome back. Before we go get started, with everyone to subscribe to our YouTube channel, the Talk Your Shit Sports Podcast YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram at Talk Your Shit Sports Podcast. Really lock into us and some questions, man. Follow us on Facebook, Talk Your Sports Podcast, and wherever you listen to your podcast, Anchor, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Pete, we got a special one tonight.
Oh yeah, we got a champ, man.
We got a legend. We got a champion. We got
four of them things.
4 rings. That's historical,
baby.
4.
Yeah, man.
But ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, a Charlestown great, a Massachusetts Basketball Hall of Fame great, 4-time state champion. I want to welcome to the podcast our brother. I actually wasn't there to see you. I came after, Adilson Baptista, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast, bro.
Thanks for having me, guys. Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. Huge fan. Watched every single one of the episodes. Loved everybody's stuff. We'll continue to tune in and hopefully get the word out for you guys, man. Definitely huge fan. Love to be on, man.
You're welcome. This is home. This is athletes, coaches, trainers, man. This is where we just leverage our love for sports, man. And we want the folks to get insight into, not only who you are as a man, but also just who you were as an athlete growing up from a young man to who you are now. And we're going to, Pete, let's lock in. What you got?
Adilson, man. So describe to our viewers where your sports journey, where you grew up at and where your sports journey started.
Yeah, gotcha. So my sports journey started, my family is from Roxbury, but when I was born, we lived here for maybe about a year, and then I spent the rest of my adolescence growing up in Brockton. So around 6th grade, we ended up having to move back to Boston because my mom was going through some cancer treatments. So we had to move back here so she could be a little bit closer. And at that time, I had never touched a basketball before that. I was always just a little bit taller than everybody else in my class, but it seemed like something when I got back here to Boston, it was like, dude, I was growing 2-3 inches a year. Went from 5'9" to 6'1", and it was like, oh snap, man, what's going on? And everybody's like, well, you gotta start playing basketball. So where I live in Roxbury is right around the corner from Dudley Park. So back in those days, basically you had to fight for the next game because it would get so live out there.
Right.
You literally have cats flying through the air, dunking, and cats that never played organized. They would play, maybe some leagues here and there, but they never were affiliated with anybody. So one of my older cousins at the time was like, listen, if you want to play like these guys, you got a lot of catching up to do because these guys have been playing since they were 7-8 years old, tearing up the street. So he was like, a lot of the guys that have been out here, they've been out here for a minute. So at the time, also one of the reasons that I started playing at Charlestown was because my cousin Corey. So we went to the same middle school, went to the Dearborn. Shout
out to Corey.
Yeah, shout out to CB, aka Grasshopper. At that point in time, that's when I really started getting into it. So I would go to Mission Hill and I'd watch those guys play. And, the greats like Will Blaylock, they were younger guys, but you would just see these guys playing with a different level of tenacity. You'd be like, you respect that level of game. You're like, all right, can't go up against that guy because he's just going to eat me alive. Right. So it was watching those guys play and then wanting to basically replicate that, hey, you know what? I want to play on the team and I want to be flying through the air. I want to start dunking and doing all this other stuff. So basically from my 7th grade year to my 8th grade year, learning the fundamentals, going down to the Sprite court behind the Boys and Girls Club on Warren Street in the morning, just shooting around by myself for an hour or two a day and then coming back by 8 o'clock in the morning. But just trying to get better because the cats that I was playing with at the time, I couldn't hit the backboard. So it was basically just learning those basic fundamentals when I'm close to the hoop, how to shoot, and all those basic things. So I never worked out organized workout ever. So it was playing horse, playing 21 with cats. It was basically the extent of my basketball experience. So
right.
It's kind of how I ran. And then 8th grade, Corey popped up on me. He was like, listen, man, you got to really start focusing. I want you to come to the same school I came to. So when you're going through that transition, you got to choose your top 3 schools. So Charlestown wasn't even on my selection.
I wanted, choose Charlestown at all?
Dude, at that point, when I selected the high school's like, I was in 7th grade, bro. I ain't know nothing about nothing. So I would talk to my friends, and I wanted to go to Snowden because I heard they had the open campus. So I was like, yo, I want to be responsible for taking myself to class, or not taking myself to class. Wasn't even thinking anything basketball wise, but just was like, where can I go to kind of have the most fun? And then Corey had showed up to one of the games we were playing down in OP at the Dearborn down there. And, one of the games we were just playing, and I remember it was probably about halftime, and Corey and Coach come walking in, Coach O'Brien come walking in. Corey's decked out, Charlestown gear, like just full on.
Right,
yeah, you see the Letterman when he walked in, so everybody turned and looked at them. They walk over to the bleachers, sit down, have a seat, and we just continue running our game. So at the end of the game, I remember, going over to, I could obviously run over to see Corey. I'm like, hey man, like I did better than I did last time. And he was like, yo, stick with it. Like, you look good. Like, don't worry. You're going to come where I'm at, like come next year, and we'll play. So coach was like, listen, you got a lot of stuff you got to work on. He was like, just, he was like, we're going to come out with a program for you, send you to a couple camps, and like have the whole kind of like roadmap laid out. My first time meeting. So I'm like, oh, all right. Like, you got all these plans for me. Like, I was, as I was getting taller, when I was in Brockton, the high school coach for Brockton, I used to run into him when my mom used to take us to IHOP. So he was like, listen, man, when you're getting bigger, so when you get bigger, come see me. Right. We're going to take care of all that. Yeah. I'll come see you when I get there. But he ended up moving back here. So that time never came. So coach is like, listen, like, we're going to set you up, send you to basketball camps, like try to get your basics in the order. But like, if you come to Charlestown, first step is selecting the school. So it wasn't even in my top 3. So I'm like, all right, listen, I didn't even select that school because it's all the way over there in Charlestown. I live in Roxbury, like Madison's closer to me. So I was like, I'd rather go to Copley or something.
Right, that commute ain't no joke.
Yeah, so it's a real commute, and at that time it was going to Charlestown. Yeah. So, like your parents start freaking out. Oh, when you go over there, don't be acting up. Don't get caught out. You know what I mean? So it was that whole thing going back and forth. So, once I talked to Corey, talked to coach, they lined it up. And then literally I would try to get up with Corey whenever I could to like try to get a little bit of play in. And like, again, at that time, my workouts were like completely unorganized. They weren't even workouts. It's just me fooling around with a ball for an hour and a half, 2 hours a day. And basically kind of went from there. So my freshman year, first day of school, walking to Charlestown, cats is pulling the fire alarm so many times, like we end up having a riot.
Yo, Six said the same thing about the riot. It's like, yo, what is going on?
So like, and cats is fighting the cops. Like, I remember, I think his name was Tyron. He was on the football team, and this kid, like, he's a high school student, man. He tore up this cop. So we just sitting there, and that's when that happened. They hit that panic button, man. Everybody swarmed in, and we're like, yo, bro, like, it's the 8th fire alarm, like the last 2 hours.
That's crazy.
So that whole thing popped off. Everybody took off. But like, just getting that introduction into Charlestown, like that first day I showed up, coach was there. The senior guys, James wasn't a senior at the time. But like, those outgoing guys, that first year guys, Frankie, you walk into the cafeteria, half the team is sitting right there, sitting with coach, trying to get their stuff together for the day, trying to get their game plan in. And, everybody's just kind of sitting there fooling around for first period. And, school used to start at 7:20, but bro, like, we'd be in there at 6:30 when the doors open.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we wouldn't leave at night until 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. So we were there from bell to bell, just putting in all that time, whether it was schoolwork or playing ball. So, that first year getting there, just having the older guys, because it was like, oh, you're going to play on JV. It's like, you're not guaranteed a spot. You're still going to try out. But I'm doing all these practices with everybody else. So in the back of my mind, I'm like, I know I'm on, but like, I still got to go through like the motions of everything.
Process. Right.
Yeah. So I remember getting there and like Daryl Sticks being there, and had played with him in middle school. And when he was at the Gavin, I believe it was him and Tony Lee over there, and Tony Chapman. And, Daryl always had that Garnett, like from when we were young. So when I saw him, I was like, all right, another kid my size, like, I'm running down the court all doofy, but Daryl's sprint, hauling. You know what I mean? And I'm like damn, man, I can't keep up with this kid. Like, I gotta wait till I catch him and try to push him off this thing. You know what I mean? So we would go at it, battle back and forth and stuff like that. So we finally landed at Charlestown, and it's like, I'm big, you big, like, we about to run this whole thing. So, it was a little bit of cockiness going in, but I'll tell you that first day of like, being at Charlestown was one thing. They separate you by colors and size and all this other stuff. So it was basically like the troublemakers on one side, and then like the kids.
What side were you on?
I was on the red side, so Brainiac side. Locker time was quiet. You go to your locker, drop your book, go right back to the next class. So, we would try to dip and dabble, mix hallways every now and then. Run over to the purple side for a quick second, see what's up, see what's popping over there. I gotta get back, man.
That's dope.
So,
that's dope.
Yeah, it was a great, couple of months there. But as far as basketball goes, like this is just me starting to get some type of like format foundation to anything that I was doing. And these cats, like I would see Rashid, like these cats playing down at Fields Corner. So I would see everybody playing because I was basically bouncing around from hood to hood. Like I'm a Roxbury kid, not affiliated to nothing, but I can go down, run down to Fields Corner real quick. I can run over to Mission Park, watch those guys play over there. I can run down to Heath Street when the guys playing over there outside the station. You know what I mean? So any court that was kind of lit, like I was just trying to kind of get around that because at that time I was kind of hungry for it. So I remember trying out, being run all over the place at the Edwards, trying out for JV, and then going to check that list, see if your name's on that. So basically, once we got in the door there, man, it's just becoming a part of the CTB machine. That guys like Hugh Coleman, Sean, like all these cats that was there before us, they built the format that we ended up getting into. You know what I mean? So they had a couple good seasons. They had a couple seasons where they lost some games, but those guys are what basically built what was kind of like a college like structured team in high school. You know what I mean? So it broadened your horizons. It opened up a lot of doors for you, but it also taught you if you was lacking any type of like discipline or any type of like manhood type of stuff at the crib, like the different coaches had it, bro. And like even some of your older teammates, like James Levesque, Big Jimmy, like he humbled me the very first day I ever walked on. Like the way we used to practice, JV would be on one side of the court, the side of the court that's closest towards the doors, and the varsity team would be down the far end. You could not interrupt the varsity team. You could not get in the varsity team's way. If coach made them run a sprint or run a suicide while we were practicing, you had to move out of the way of these guys. At that time, they were like grown men, barreling down the court. So you move.
Right.
So we always had that respect and that kind of like boundary. So JV was one thing. I was with Zach, and Zach was a great coach too, great friend, and just mentor at the time. And those guys would come back. Q would come back. I remember the first time ever seeing a short dude dunk was Hugh Coleman.
He had the hops.
You had some hops. He had some hops.
Yeah. So I was like, in my mind, you had to be like 6'3", 6'4", and up. Those are the cats that could dunk at the time. Like you had to have some size to you. It wasn't little cats out here bouncing off the roof. So I remember him coming down. He was he was still in college at the time, but came down, and it's like, oh, this guy, and Derek came in with us too. But going in, Derek had a foot up because of you.
Right.
So he already knew the system. He knew coach. He had been working out, doing all that stuff. So, but he was still on JV. But he would practice with the varsity team, come over and mess with us a little bit. And at that time, my freshman year, basically played JV the entire year, just trying to, I had grown like another 2 inches when I got there. So it was like going from 6'3", and now I'm 6'5", 6'6". Okay. Yeah, I mean, it ended up, I topped out at 6'7", but that whole time I was growing. So every time I would work on something, I would get good at it. I'd get, just coordinated again and just be all over the place. I'm like, all right, I got to keep trying and keep, just kind of keep at it.
Reinventing yourself.
Yeah, just basically just staying with the fundamentals. I got to learn the motor skills, just repetition.
So for that first year, like what did you specifically, like what part of your game developed the most? And like, how did Coach O'Brien and Zach help you with that?
That first year, it was basically tenacity. I was a shy kid. So I was a shy, sheltered kid. Grew up in the suburbs, suddenly moved to Boston, just starting to kind of get my feet wet a little bit and then get basically thrown in with wolves. That's my level of respect for those guys is why I say that. When you stepped on the court with those guys, you knew immediately whether you were going to keep up, try not to get embarrassed out there, or like just stop running, like basically give it up, let the next person that wants to run and try to keep up, let them come in and try to get it. So it's basically, that's how those cats played. Like if your effort was 0 or minimal, you couldn't compete because everybody was going 110, 120.
Because there's a whole bunch of dogs on that team.
Yeah, the dogs out there. So, and even the cats that there was dogs out there that didn't play on teams. You know what I mean? So you go to the court, you get humbled fast, especially if you was talking trash or like you just couldn't do the basic things to keep up. So with me, it was always like I would see guys and I'd be like, all right, I'll pick, you know, a couple of traits from him, and I'll do this. Like the way I shot James helped me straighten out my free throw shot. My free throw shot was something different every time. It was almost on some Gianna stuff where I'm at the line, fake shooting it, figure out how to get it. And James was like, "Listen, man, stop playing that BS and you know just get over here." He's like, "Grab the ball like this and shit," and he's just like, "This is how you gonna do it." And he was like, "Do it the same way every time." He was like, "However you want to do it, I don't care. Just do it the same way every time." And I was like, "All right, cool." He was like, "Obviously you're throwing the ball straight." He was like, "But all this other stuff you're doing in between," he was like, I don't know what that is.
Throw that shit out.
Yeah, so he's like, "Get that stuff out of here, man." So, you know, it was getting there and being around those guys. That the number one thing that first year that changed was my mentality and like the way I saw the game. I thought everybody played for fun.
Right.
It's not playing for fun when you're playing with wolves out there. So it's like you got to watch yourself. You're gonna get hit. You're gonna get hit in the mouth. You're gonna get hit in the chest. You're gonna get the wind knocked out of you. But are you gonna keep running or are you gonna stop? So it was all building that like mental toughness. I would say the first 2 years, especially going into sophomore year. You know, Frank, those guys taking the lead. You know, RIP to Richard Jones, El Ray, and all those guys. TP. You know what I mean? Like we had some killers on the team and guys that were hungry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I remember the very first like varsity practice dude like ran down. James knocked the wind out of me. I couldn't run for 3 plays. Getting screamed at. Coaches screaming at me. Guys on the sideline like, "Yo, why ain't you running, bro?" I'm like, "Can't breathe." You know what I mean? Like what's going on? Yeah. So it's like, yo, like that's what, you know what I mean? It set the tone. And I remember going home after that first practice and just being like, I don't know if I'm gonna do this. You know what I mean? And coming back the next day, looking at James. Yeah.
Whether you really wanted it or not.
Yeah. And I'm looking at James and he's looking at me. He's like, "Yo, how you doing today?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if I want to go to practice." And he was like, "Oh, you gonna be there." He was like, "Ain't no stopping, man." He's like, "Listen, you're gonna get better, you're gonna get stronger, you're gonna get better." He was like, "But you gotta work at it." He's like, "You're coming in on the first floor." He was like, "You just gotta stay with it." He was like, "When I first got here, I didn't have it like that either." But it's like, I'm seeing all these guys flying now, but it's like you're not seeing all the things that built up to that.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing with Charlestown is we definitely learned, you know, how to lay those bricks and how to build up, because it was more than basketball. It was how to be a good person. Like when we got on the trains and stuff like that, we see cats from everywhere, but you have to give up your seat. If you see somebody on crutches, if you see an old lady, help her with her bags. Like, don't be on the train causing ruckus and causing problems and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So it was all those foundational things that a lot of guys, especially growing up in Boston, like, you got to have your stuff together when you go from one place to another place.
Right.
There's no room for, you know, mixed messages or anything like that. You got to have your stuff together. And it like, bro, like we had cats from the Point, cats from Mission, cats from Heath Street, cats from Roxbury, cats from OP.
A lot of rival neighborhoods. Yep.
Yeah. So it's like you don't walk through that neighborhood. And it was like almost like if you had on Charlestown stuff, it's like you had a pass to walk through. Oh, all right, cool. Yeah, he can go through. You know what I mean? And all the guys on the team. Like there was times we went down to the Point, go hang out with Keywan, you know, Tony and them out there, and it's love, bro. Like normally, like, you know, out there, ain't no playing around.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And those cats would bring us in like, "No, y'all are brothers, man. Come on in, man. Y'all family. We got y'all. Like, just don't be on that knucklehead stuff. You know what I mean? If you need something, let us know." So it was always love everywhere we went. So with Charlestown, like those first couple of years is building that foundation, understanding where you fit in to that machine, like I was telling you, and just kind of realizing like, all right, how do I fit in? How do I get better? Because a lot of it is self-development, but you also got to be on top of your schoolwork. You got to be on top of your game. So
how is that balance? You know, with the academics, the athletics, and the social side.
Social side pretty much kicked it, took a backseat. You got social side in between doing A and B. So A was making sure your schoolwork and everything else was taken care of. Like we would have study hall. So there's basically no excuse for you It's all cats that went through.
Right.
We've been at the same school, had the same teachers. Cats was in your grade last year, so they know exact work you're doing. They know exactly how to do it. So there's no reason for you to fail or fall back. If you don't understand something, one of us on the team can explain it to you. And that's what those older cats would do. You know what I mean? They'd be like, yo, the seniors be popping in the study hall like, yeah, I got 20 minutes worth of stuff. Sophomores and freshmen, like, I got an hour of homework, bro. Like, I don't understand this algebra, man. What you talking about? Multiplying letters and numbers, man. So it was, you had cats that would sit down and explain all that stuff to you. So you're building camaraderie in that. You're building camaraderie in that the older upperclassmen are looking out for you when you're walking through the hallway. Yo, man, stop fooling around. Get over there. You know what you're supposed to be doing. All right, cool. Don't let coach catch you out here. Coach be walking out in the hallways to see who's out there. Cassidy be out there to see who's out there. Zach be popping around seeing who's out there. So everybody was accountable at the end of the day. You're responsible for taking care of your own stuff. Your grades were your responsibility. There was no secret hack to it. Teachers weren't giving people passes just to give them passes. I wish that was the case, but it wasn't.
That was the myth in the street.
Yeah, that was the rumor going around. Oh, Charlestown players don't have to do nothing. Listen, we have to work for it the same way everybody else do. No one else is going to do that homework. No one else is going to turn in those assignments. Coaches definitely weren't doing it. They were too busy keeping us in shape and working us out. So
right.
You had no time for that. You had to be on top of your stuff. So basically going through that whole growing process, having cats there. That initially when we got there, Isaiah was there. Other guys that tried out for the team, but for one reason or another didn't either stick with it or didn't make it all the way through. So, we were all like, even though cats wouldn't stick with it, they would still be part of the fan. You know what I mean? Like, what the grind is, what we're doing.
Yeah.
And they would be on the same flow anyway. They'd be doing their own thing, but they would still be encouraging, what I mean? Things like that. So we always welcome them back to the fold.
Thanks.
But basically
one thing that you highlighted was when you started getting into basketball, you was going to different neighborhoods and then playing basketball against, different type of people. So what was the competition like around the city during that time?
It like I'm telling you, man, you had to be prepared. You would not like people step on the court and be like, oh yeah, I want to play. If you got a little bit of experience, you know what I mean? A little bit of, you got a little something, a couple of your friends got you, whatever you think you're going to step out there. These guys, you would be exposed immediately and just running, like how you ran, like the speed that you're running at. Are you moving at a snail's pace or you hollering from line to line?
Right.
And these guys be out there and they disappear like a dart. You'd be sitting there like surprised. Like I remember the first time I watched Rashid play. Rashid and his older brother Basil, he was another big man in Charlestown that kind of like paved the way and set us up for everything. And even with Basil, you know what I mean? He was like, yo, bro, like he was just strong as an ox, man. Like dude would turn into you and you feel it for days.
You feel that pain.
Yeah. So we went down on went down to Phil's Corner and we were watching those guys play. Mind you, it's like 6, 7 o'clock at night, bro. These guys playing for like 3-4 hours, like going hard. So you wouldn't step on the court. Like if you didn't have the creds, you basically didn't step on the court.
Right.
With certain groups. Because they'd be like, nah, man, you got to get off, let this guy
That's
get
what
on.
y'all got next.
Like, yo, man, you got.
I called on the phone and said I had next.
Yeah, they'd be like, yo, you get the next one, man. Sit this one out, you get the next one, man. Let my man step on. And you see why, you know what I mean? And that was the big thing, especially like we go to Fenway, watch the Mission Cats play. So, you know what I mean? And those guys are jumping through the roof trying to rack, you know what I mean? At that time, it was like, if you dunked on somebody, basically it was your stamp on the wall and like your cred, who you could bang on, how nasty your bangs were, like all that. So at that, like when you stepped on the court, like you had to represent. I remember going watching Rashid, bro, and I'm like, oh man, like looking at him, I'm like, he's a grown man. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, he's one grade ahead of me.
The man amongst boys.
Yeah, and it's like, but he's out here shooting. Yeah, he dog cross the half court line and catch it, fire, wet. You'd be like, oh, you ain't gonna do that again. Come back down again.
His shit was on automatic.
Yeah, so it was, and that was the thing, dude. Like, you playing on a team where everybody's a shooter. Everybody's a shooter. You can pass the ball to, and that was the thing. Like, we would pass it to the open man. The open man would shoot the shot most of the time. Unless you had the green light, and then you could take it whenever. But like, the open man would bang those shots in. That's why those first couple of years, Like when we went undefeated that first year, I was like, I never been on a team that never lost that. So I was like, there's not one loss this year. What do you attribute that to? Coaches and the team just being hungry, upperclassmen leading the way, underclassmen, like you gotta like when I came in, it was the Fab Five, so Corey Boston, Andrew, Al Ray, Tony Chapman, and Corey. Yeah, I mean, it's killer five, bro. Like,
Sorry.
And these guys were young. Yeah, I mean, so I'm getting there as a freshman and sophomore. These guys are right ahead of me, so they're blazing their own way, and those guys were hungry as hell, man. Like Tony Chapman, one of the best point guards I ever played with. Derek,
probably say he's probably top 3 best point guards of all time in the city.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Not taking anything away from anybody else that played on other teams, but like when you're there up front and you have that front row seat and you get in front, like the practices, bro. The practices were worse than any game that we ever played.
Oh yeah, talk about that. Yeah,
let's get into it.
Yeah, so
it's different. It's different for a lot of like I think like you said, man. Like you came into a machine. You came into I think you guys were. I'll never say lucky. You guys were blessed enough to come into just a place and time where you had people who love basketball, and even when I got there. It was immediate. As soon as you got there, you realized Jack loved basketball, Zach loved basketball, Hugh loved basketball, and then it permeated between like all through the team. Yeah, it was just like it was crazy.
It was an obsession to them. Like Zach played when he was up in Salem. When Coach was coaching a high school team up in Salem, he was one of his players, and he was, you know what I mean, to see him. I remember there was a kid, Rick Brunson, who was playing in the NBA at one time. While we was in high school, bro, we drove down to New York to watch him play on the Knicks. You know what I mean? It was like, all right, coach is coaching NBA players. Right. Like, everybody that leave here is about to be great. Hugh went to college. Ian went to college. Like, you're looking at that and you're like, yo, these guys are set up for life after the fact. Like, yeah, we play basketball. We do everything. Like, for that time that you're there, basketball is life, like, period. I literally, from the time I walked in as a freshman to the time I graduated, there wasn't a summer that I wasn't at a camp. There's no time off. Basically, off season is for off season basketball. Or if we're not doing that, I was running cross country, something to try to stay in shape. But like they had us on this regiment where we did everything. Like I was telling you guys, like me, JB, and Derek were on almost every single team from the time we were freshmen until the time we were seniors. So we played AAU. We're on the same team, traveling to the same places, roommates everywhere we go. I told me and JB were roommates literally from the time I was freshman to the time we graduated. Everywhere we went, it was like, yo, bro, nah, you're my roomie, bro. We know exactly what your standards are, everything. Like, we ain't on this rah-rah stuff. Like, we know exactly what we get. We roommates everywhere we go. Right. And, Derek would be right there with us. And everything we did, AAU, we traveled in the summertime, man. So we go from New Jersey and we in like Civics and like tight cars, bro, riding out to tournaments. You know what I mean? Just, all right, it's the three of us. Practices, workouts. We would get up for workouts if we weren't scheduled for a practice or didn't have a practice with AAU, wasn't playing in the summer league, wasn't going up to Lawrence Boys and Girls Club, wasn't like playing at Jackson Man or something. Like we were literally like you were either working out with your teammates or you're doing something basketball with
How important was that for you in terms of like that brotherhood being built?
It was big. It was big. It was big. Like I tell you, to this day, if I see anybody that went to Charlestown and we had that any point in time where we cross paths, bro, like the camaraderie, you wouldn't see cats for 20 years and see these guys and you feel the love immediately. Right. The jokes, like I ran into Kiwan just out in the streets, and the minute I saw him, I had interrupted my entire table, stand up, you know what I mean, to go say what's up to my boy, you know what I mean? So that's the type of love. When I see Sticks, love them, you know what I mean? When I see these guys, love them to death. And what we went through was bigger than, it was a life-changing like events that we went through. Like we grew as men. A lot of our standards and models got set at that point in time because when you're coming up. So it's like having mentors, and that was right when Charlestown started the mentoring program. So they had cats that was running businesses coming in and talking to us. We're going to championship things, getting talked to, getting pep talks and little seminars and stuff by like cats that, trying to bring out the best in you. So it made you hungry. It made you want to be better. And that's pretty much, that was the two requirements, was like, you wanted to get better, and effort. Effort was the number one thing. If you didn't dive on the floor, I don't care if you can score 20 points. If you don't dive when that ball's loose, you're not getting on the floor. If you're not, suicides, 30-second suicides, sprints from one end to the other, 10 seconds. And he would sit there and time it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that last guy's getting in at 11, 12 seconds. Doesn't count. You got to do it again. You know what I mean? Doing bricks when you mess up. You know, everybody was accountable, bro. If you messed up, you screwed up, coach would try to get you one-on-one, but then he'd make you pay for it on the team if it wasn't snapping in. I remember there was practices, bro, middle of the wintertime. We had to go run outside on the track. It was like a foot of snow outside. And he's telling us we're timed and had to go run and do that. Out there in jerseys. It's like 30 degrees, bro. Run it. So it snapped you out of it, man. Like, if you thought you were bigger than the team, nope. Guess what? You don't want to straighten up. Every one of your brothers are now going to pay for it. And so everybody was accountable, bro. So it's like, you didn't want to be the one that was causing more attention, because coach would stop and run a drill on you for 20 minutes. If you were slacking, you'd have to stand in the middle. Hey, charge drill. Everybody's lined up at the foul line extended, and you down in the paint, taking every single charge from every one of your teammates. And these guys were built like freight trains. Everybody's strong. El Ray come up, you'd be like, El Ray. Like, I remember one time we were in practice, and he was like, listen, I'm not going to hit you all the way. Just like fall or whatever. So I was like, he's like, I'm trying to take it easy. And I was like, appreciate it, bro. And he ran up on me, but like, he got within a foot of me and I fell already.
Elroy was a big boy, man. He was,
yeah, man. So like, we'd be out there, we'd be joking. Like, we were going through hell, but we'd be joking, laughing, like cracking jokes. Like, the camaraderie was on another level. The cats that came up behind us. And that was the thing. Like, every, you move up, another new underclassman comes in. They got to learn the ropes. They got to learn how the program works, how everything goes. So like Tony Lee and those guys coming in, and Tony was like a firecracker when he came in. You know what I mean? Like, walking the gym, you heard him coming. He started talking from the stairs. So it's like, what time it was. Like, you would be in there playing, and even guys that would play around the way, when the ball team would come out, like, you see the court clear. Like, everybody get off the court. You see the basketball team out here, off the court. And then, you know what I mean? So that was the level of seriousness that was with it. But it was like, we would go through that hell together. And I'll tell you right now, there was not one game that we played that was worse than any practice that we had. Like, we had practices with guys throwing like bombing fists at each other. There was no fouls. There was none of that. So like, you had to
the
be
level of competition was just like,
you would run until you're literally at the end of the gym trying to puke in one of the trash cans, because you're running so much. Like, and you would throw up and get right back to running. Like, it wasn't like, oh, I'm throwing up, so I guess that's enough for today, guys. I'm going home. No, go throw up, wipe your mouth off, drink some water, get back out here. You got some more running to do.
So with that level of competition, tell us or describe to us how you became, like, how you were able to become an asset for the team.
So I would say up until the time, so my freshman year, my sophomore year were basically like growing years. It was basically get your fundamentals down, drill, go up against guys like Sticks, go up against Isaiah, go up against James, Basil, and all those guys, go up against Richard. You know what I mean? And those guys at the time were like, I was just growing tall. I wasn't like that width yet, you know what I mean? So I'm going out there getting pushed over left and right. So it just basically became, I have to compete with these guys. So if I can get to the level where I'm competing or giving these guys a hard time, I'm doing pretty good for myself. So it was that focus for those first 2 years. And then, getting into my junior year when the Fab Five was doing their thing, it was basically, we're their support team. You know what I mean? So when they step out of the game, we're stepping in. And we have to maintain that level of aggressiveness, that level of dominance over everybody. And back then, like, dude, the games that we used to have, man, I'd be looking at the clock like, we up 30 and it's 10 minutes to go. End up going up 40. How did we go up 40? And now there's 5 minutes to go. Now we won by 50 at the end of the game. And it's like, the tenacity never turned off. We would press the entire game. Like, you would go, coach would sub you out 2-3 minutes, but you ran those 2-3 minutes as hard as you could. If you got that, if you got longer, you ran whatever you had as long as you could, full tilt. and then we'll turn around and, you know what I mean, let the next person step in. And then they're running full tilt. And it was just that rotation, bro, was killing them. We pressed literally up until the last 2 minutes of the game. If you was on the bench, guess what? You're still gonna get some press practice in because we're pressing still. And that's what it was. It was to get you in that mentality of you don't let up, you keep pushing. Even if there were times we would be down, bro, and we would just keep pushing, see that comeback. I remember playing at Northeastern, watching Rashid and Tony and them, like we're playing Cambridge Region Latin, going to war. Corey's shooting them things out. You know what I mean? And we're just like, it's like, bro, when you're out there, I'm chasing Anthony Anderson. I'm chasing him around like a maniac, trying to get him to, you know, at that point, the coach's idea was basically if you make them go fast, they'll make mistakes. So the whole game, everybody, no matter who's on the floor, is trying to make you go as quickly as you possibly can to get you out of the trap, which is going to set you up for everything else that we're doing. So we had guys flying down the court, stealing the ball, like it would turnovers would be ridiculous, 27 turnovers a game. And you're like, how'd you, that accounted for 27 times too. That was that. Like every time we stole the ball, we scored. Either dump it out for a three, somebody open, or somebody's going to try to get a highlight reel. So that's basically, you know, there was no easing off the gas pedal or taking it easy on anybody. It was just full throttle all the time, as hard as you can. So every time you played, you left it on the court. You don't know if you're coming back. Cats get hurt. You leave it out there, man. Whatever you got, as long as you did that, effort was the number one toll. If you paid that effort, you'd be good. Everything else would fall into place because you're drilling, you're practicing everything. So it's repetition. Everything's going to come together when it comes together. But like those practices, man, like we be out there like damn near crying, man, trying to get out of there. And you know what I mean? And cats just hurting, taping up stuff, you know, limping home. We do the bus ride home. You get 3 stops. It would be an orange line stop, a red line stop. So we stop at JFK. Everybody figure it out from there. And you know, try to get everybody as close to home as you could. But like if you didn't catch that bus, you had to jump on the T, man. Like we just got whooped for 3 hours.
That's a truth. That's
you know what I mean? So you get home 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, 9:30 at night, almost 10 o'clock. You knocking out and then being up at like 5, trying to get to school at like 6, 6:30. We sit with the team, sit with the coaches. So like there was no room really for you to get into anything else, like off season stuff like that. Plenty of room, but at the end of the day, if you weren't trying to do something to get better or go to a camp, practicing, working out with just your teammates, like, dog, we would have big man practices where James would call us and be like, yo, get over here, man. Like you sitting in gym class. Oh, you just sitting over there, thought you just going to sit there? Nah, get over here. Get your shorts on, come drill. Like we're going to practice for the 20 minutes we got. We got 20 minutes. We can do something in 20 minutes. And that was the mentality of, you know, of everybody. So we were all pushing each other to be better. So that expectation from your teammates would make you push a little bit more and, you know, always give that.
Did everyone buy in? So. Or did it take some guys longer than others to like, yo?
Some people like, it took
to adopt that lifestyle.
Yeah. Some people it definitely took longer than others, but we drank the Kool-Aid, bro. Like everybody was on that.
I mean,
like,
you guys were winning. You guys were winning.
Like we were winning, but the thing was, it was like I said, there was no. The practices were. I would dread practice, bro. I would look forward to the games. I'd be like, oh, an easy day. You know what I mean? So it got to the point where, you know, like you're playing with guys that you have 100% confidence in. Because these guys are trying to like watching Frank Finkley, watching him run up and down the court. You know what I mean? Like he would try to murder and dunk everything he could, man. Like not easily, like try to rip the rim off. You know what I mean? Cats like Keywan going in and trying to rip the rim off. Like, and Cats was, you know, they push by you, bro. So it's like you're sitting there, you get to feel that, you get to see that, and understand that level of tenacity, bro. Like you knew what you had to bring to the table, and it was like if you weren't able to bring that effort, because if you didn't have the effort, nothing else is gonna work out for you, because we just gonna kill you. Somebody's gonna overrun you or something. But it was literally it was amazing, man. Like I'm thankful for those 4 years. And I'm thankful for all the teammates that I had and everybody on and off the court. There's more off the court stuff, but on the court, man, there wasn't anybody that wasn't giving 110% anytime we played. Like everybody was to the wall with it, just going for it, man. So, you know, being a part of that is definitely huge.
And the thing about that, man, like you look at all these great players. You look at your Michael Jordans, your Kobe's, your LeBron James. Like they kill themselves during the off season. They kill themselves during practice. And like you just said, like when come game time, it's all easy to them. And that's why you look at a KD knocking down these jumps, these turnarounds, threes, hitting these twos in clutch moments. He practiced that. He's killing himself in practice to
thousands of repetitions.
Right.
Thousands of reps. Thousands and thousands of reps, bro. And that's the thing. Like even with Charlestown, like we would be in there, cats would be in there an hour before practice. And that was our practices weren't easy. You would die through that. So you're telling me you're doing extra work on top of the work. You already know we're gonna get killed, but you're still doing more. And that's what these guys in the NBA do, and like college players do. Like it's a different level. Like each level, it increases, the difficulty increases. Like it's not easy. These guys get there by committing to it and sticking with it and putting in those reps. Like you can't cheat it. At the end of the day, you got to do what you got to do. So it's like either you want it or you don't want it, and that's what separates a lot of people.
Super lit. Hey guys, we got a special. I'm getting a call in from the booth from upstairs. We got a special guest calling in, Adilson. I'm gonna bring him in. He's gonna ask you a question. He's currently down in San Antonio with the Spurs right now, so he's calling in right now. Here we go. Where's he at? Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Got a special guest here. Live from San Antonio. A satellite. We got a camera down in San Antonio right now. So, hey, Javaro, can you hear us? JB?
Only at Talk Your Shit Sports podcast, man.
Yeah.
JB, can you hear us?
I love this stuff, man. That's crazy.
Our camera guy's having some technical difficulties.
He's having some difficulties with the satellite there.
JB, can you hear us?
But it's all good. He'll tap it in a minute, man.
He'll tap in.
Yeah,
Adilson, man, as you're coming into this machine, the first 2 years, you're obviously developing, you're getting mentored. Now you're able to, junior, senior, you're able to pass your knowledge on to the younger folks, man. So tell us about like how you were able to handle some adversity either on and off the court, and how you handled that success early on.
Yeah, so with having that huge success of having those undefeated seasons, like we wiped the city championship, wiped state championship. So that first year, I think we had lost to English in the finals, but that was back when they had like Lamb, all those guys. They were like literally just killing it. So that was the one game that we lost my freshman year. It was that city championship game with English, but wiped everything else, went on to win the state championship still. So take that as a consolation prize. But then that second year, like understanding that each year you're going to move up and you're going to be the main focus or become more of a focus on the team, was just like kind of like natural thing. So you would spend that whole year kind of like prepping for that. So I know like when I came up behind Jimmy, I was like, yo, I'm behind James when he's going next year. Like we need rebounders, we need guys that's going, trying to block shots, things like that. So I was like, that's going to be my role. I need to step up into that. So that's the area where I need to focus and improve on. And a lot of that came from like, again, building up that tenacity, going for it. And, just that effort being 100% minimum, but trying to aim for that 110, 120% all the time. So it was basically just learning all those basic things. And then, as we got to becoming juniors, things like that, more of that responsibility falls on you. Like the younger guys like Tony Lee coming in, was a fun character, full of spirit, full of life. Love the man to this day. But like, when you see him, he give you that yo loud from across the gym. You would hear him literally walking from the stairs, walking into the gym. You knew when Tony was coming in. But like being around those guys, having that, being like, this is how we kind of do things. And, people will rebel sometimes and we pay the price. We have to run a whole practice or whatever because somebody messed up. But, having that, everybody getting on them would straighten that person out. So at the end of the day, it would be worth it. So that built camaraderie, also build that brotherhood a little bit better because we were accountable for each other. So if someone saw you stepping out of line, they correct you, whatever, push you back towards the right side of things. But basically going through that, then our senior year, basically going from our junior year to our senior year, where we just lost the best 5 starting lineup, never hit high school sports in Boston. Like, we're following them up. So the next year, all the, sports people were talking like, oh, these guys aren't gonna, quite get there. There he is. What up, bro? But it's like that next year, just kind of, we had to fill those shoes. So everybody doubted us. So like, oh, Charlestown's done. They lost to 5. Like, these guys ain't gonna get it. Like, they're not gonna be able to handle the pressure and like everything else. And all we were doing during that time was like, cats were telling us, don't look at that, don't pay attention to that. Focus on your drills, focus on playing, getting better. So we used to play at this league, at the LBC in Lawrence, Boys and Girls Club up in Lawrence. It was summer league up there. And those used to be wars, playing at a stadium from like 6, 7 o'clock on a summer night when it's like 90, 95 degrees and you're running with these cats. Be like 5, 6, 7 games a night. And we'd be up there. So that junior year, my junior year following behind the 5, like during those summer leagues, it wasn't as formatted as it was during the season. During the season, you knew exactly what position you were playing, where you were on your press, and that was where you was at. There wasn't no moving around. There'd be a couple guys that would shift from spot to spot, but you knew where you was. But summer league was like kind of like a free-for-all, so everybody could get in when they fit in. So that junior year ended up being literally one of the best years that I remember playing going into our senior year, where we played that summer league, played guys like Lightfoot, and coach used to be like, listen, when you get out here, this guy's going to eat you up. He can jump higher than you. He's more athletic. He can do all this stuff, trying to get him, trying to push me to
put that battery in your back.
Yeah, so
get
he's
you
like,
ready.
He's like, listen, man. He was like, we ain't even going to like worry about you. Like, we're just going to try to keep like 5, 6 guys on him. And I'm like, nah, man, I took that personal, bro. And I was like, nah, like, you ain't going to do that to me. Nah, we out here. And Corey, he was out there. He's putting the battery in my back. Like, yo, bro, when we get out here, he's like, I'm all over him, but I need you to be all over him. And I was like, I chased this kid down the entire like game. So Cass was like, damn, like you need to play like that. Like, from that on, that's how you play. It was like, all right, cool. So we ran that whole summer just like killing it. So going into that senior year, these guys are heading off, they're doing their thing. Each one of them got their next school lined up or got their college lined up. So they know where they're going. They Gucci. So it's like we had to fill that void. And I remember the first couple of games, and Tony Lee, he was younger than us coming up behind us, but we were looking at him like, yo, Derek's going to step in here. Isaiah's going to step in here. Stick's going to step in here. Like, we're going to get the same points, but it's just going to be spread out a little different. But we still going to kill everybody because we're going to out hustle everybody. We still going to run the floor on everything. So like basically what it was, we never had a tired player on the floor. We had 20, the bench was 20 deep, and we had 5 players to go every 3 minutes. There was a new body coming on the floor. So if you only played 6, 7 guys, we're gonna wear you out in that first half, which is pretty much what we did. But even going into that senior year, man, like the games that we did lose, I remember one game we lost simply just not being focused, bro. Like we were clowning the whole time and clown on the ride up there. Tony Lee cracking jokes in the locker room. Yeah, going out to layup lines, missing layups, and our head just wasn't in that. But even that game, our heads wasn't in it. We messed up, but it was like we still knew we could have beat that team. We were like, we could beat these guys any day of the week. But it was like we weren't focused, we weren't, paying attention. We let one slip. But it was after that loss, like everybody clicked in. Next thing you know, we running. I'm giving 110%. JB giving 110%. Derek out here killing cats. Number one, they can't stick him. And then if you leave him open, he's going to drain a 3 on you. And then if he ain't catching it, Tony Lee's going to catch it and swoop in on you. Either take you to the hole or he going to bang a 3 on you.
All right. Hey, Adilson, we're coming live from our Texas correspondent. We're bringing in JB, another four-time state champion, all the way from Texas, ladies and gentlemen. JB, what you got for us? Oh, we can't hear you, big guy.
I fixed that mic.
JB, we can't hear you. We'll be right with you, ladies and gentlemen. Coming live from our Texas correspondent.
Looking all fresh out there in Texas.
everywhere, man.
Mic check. We got you, big dog. Back. JB, can you hear us? We're live from San Antonio from our Texas correspondent. JB, can you hear us?
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
All right, what you got for us, man? We appreciate you, man. We appreciate you, man. Another champion, ladies and gentlemen. But Adilson's all yours, man. What you got for him?
Hey, bigger deal, man. What's going on, man? I'm excited that you decided to come on.
Listen, man, I have to follow up in your footsteps, bro.
Hey, man, we all one, man. But what I wanted to know is, man, with all the intensity, with all we went through, with all the people that left, all the talent, everything they said that we couldn't accomplish, and all that, what gave you the motivation to not give up and just go hard?
Bro, I don't know if you remember that last year, but we had a conversation. I think we was coming back from we had played AAU. We was coming back from like Orlando, Jersey, and that whole little swing where we went out there. And we were just like, yo, like this year, like we got to do it. And Derek was the fire was lit under that man. He wanted it. So we came back and we were like, yo, they started talking the minute the last game we played. They're like, all right, so it's over for Charlestown. They ain't getting no more, like almost immediately. Right. So we had caught wind of that. So we knew. So we were just like, yo, bro, like, when we come back next year, like we gotta, like, we still got the best team out here, so can't nobody beat us team wise. Like we got more depth than anything, but like we gotta lock in on some of the positions that we were trying to lock in the year before. So it's like we there's no excuse now. There's no fallback. There's no one that's gonna come up and take the place and fill in those shoes or whatever. It has to be us. So that was the biggest thing. I remember just like when we had that conversation, it was just like, yo, we're going to go out as hard as we can. If we don't win it, at least we're going to give it the best shot. Like, that's going to be like, damn, they swung for the fences on that. But that was basically what it was. Like, we was going to leave nothing. And those first couple of games, man, was basically what it was that, like, convinced us. I think we needed some convincing, too. After those first couple of games and, like, a couple of those first couple of tough games, it set in that, oh, we got this. You know what I mean? Just stick with the program. Don't change. Don't deviate from the plan. Let's just keep doing what we're doing, and we're good. And basically, we ran through the whole rest of the year like that, man. Like we caught a couple L's, but it wasn't nothing that was like, oh, catastrophic to us that killed the whole momentum. Like once we got to, especially once we got to like the playoffs, where you start playing teams where we're traveling over here, we're traveling up to Songus Arena, we're traveling over here to Worcester, we're traveling over here to another school in East. Bumfuck somewhere. Like we out here like just chasing it down. And it's like once we got into that mode, we were like a dog for a bone, bro. Like I never that was the team that I would say wanted it like the absolute most. From the sophomores, the freshmen, we wanted it that year because we weren't supposed to get it. We wanted it. We wanted that thing, bro. And I remember the end of watching that clock count down while we were at the Worcester Centrum, bro, for that last one. I was like, give me my ring. I was like, give me that. I was like, we got that. I was like, fourth one coming, bro. Give me that ring.
Talk your shit, big dog.
I was like, give me that. I was like, we done took them now. I was like, we done got this. I was like, everybody gave everything they got. I was like, give me that ring. I was like, that fourth one, bro, out of everything was like, that one was mine.
You still got
that? That one's all. Yeah, still got a couple of them. I'm trying to get a refurbishment on the first two. But that last one, I got that last one was shiny. But I got to replace my other ones. But bro, like that last one was everything. Like the first one that we got, we came in with freshmen. We happened to land at the perfect time. Got that one. Our sophomore year, yeah, we're working more towards it, but we're still not contributing to the team like that. But we're still in the right place at the right time. Bang that second one. That third one, now we're contributing because we moved up. So we're a part of that success. So that third one, it meant something to us, but that was the Fab Fives. That was Corey's. That was Alray's. That was Tony's. You know what I mean? So it's like, and Andrews. It's like, bro, that's yours. You know what I mean? So for us, when we got our turn.
That was Rashid too, man.
Yeah, Rashid, bro. Like, that was theirs. So couldn't nobody take their shine. That fourth one that we weren't supposed to get, we owned that one. We took that one. It wasn't given to us. Like we had to go out there and get it. And a lot of people like forget. Eastie was still a beast. Mm-hmm. Brookline was still a beast. Like all these cats that we played, bro, like Burke, all these other guys, like they were hungry too because they felt like, oh, they're weak now. We can take it from them.
Right.
And like bro, we didn't have an easy game last year. There was not one easy one.
I mean, they gunning for y'all because y'all the chance.
Yeah, so everybody wants our neck. So that was
you're
that
getting
whole
everybody's
thing, man.
best. Yeah, you're definitely getting everyone's best.
So
JB, you still there?
Yo.
Yeah, before you get out of here,
man.
Before you get out of here, man, we definitely just want to ask you one more thing, man. What was Adilson like as a teammate?
Oh man, he was very quiet. To be honest, man, in the beginning, it was like, damn, like you never played basketball,
Nope.
but you know what I mean? Like he was tall and he was lanky, but he could eat his ass off. You know what I'm saying?
Always on.
And just the progression of his game over the span of 4 years, it was as if he played all of his life, and we know that wasn't the case. But just the progression of his game, man. You know what I'm saying? His demeanor, his confidence. You know, that's the thing I most enjoy being around him. You know, he's a great guy, humble person. But if you get him mad, he will dunk on you.
We've seen it.
He will dunk on you though.
Oh man. Hey JB, man, we really appreciate you logging in from all the way out in Texas, man. Really appreciate you, big dog.
Oh, no problem, man. Adilson, holla at me out there.
Yeah, I got you, bro. Love you, man. I'll talk to you.
Peace and love.
Super dope. Super dope. Oh, you only get that and talk your shit sports podcast, man.
Oh, listen, man.
Oh,
you got people calling in from satellite.
You know what I mean? Outside satellite locations. This is what we do.
Satellite
this is a network. Adilson, this is a network. This is what we do.
I see what you got going on. Thanks for letting me in on the first floor here.
You know
Appreciate it.
But go ahead, dude. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. So like, man, that was super dope, man. Just two legends, ladies and gentlemen, 4-time champions, man.
Four chips, bro.
Four. That's just it's unthinkable.
4 chips
from the age of 16, 15 to 18, 19, whatever, man. That's just amazing, man. But so in that last year, like I know you touched on a lot of it, man. Can you describe to us, during that year, like which game that you had to take more of a defensive role? And like which game that you had to really like pull up on the offensive end and like really like dominate?
Bro, the funny thing is I would have sporadic games. So like there'd be some games where I'd get 2, 4, but there was a couple games, I forget who we were playing. We were playing some team, I think it was Central Catholic or Catholic Memorial or something out in like Andover and Lawrence area. And there was this cat that I used to go to the training camps with. So like when we had basketball camp in the summertime, it was like we knew all the big guys because we would beat it.
Right.
So this cat came out and he was gonna be the fire for his team. And I remember, man, just like being like, oh, I know all his weaknesses. Like I got him. Like he's not gonna get nothing in this game. And I remember just literally coach, it was probably the game that I had the most minutes. But coach kept me out there just because I was harassing this dude like the entire time. Every time he caught the ball, I was popping it out. Like just completely harassing the kid. And I knew him, so he was like, yo, bro, like he was like, just let me catch the ball. And I was like, that defeats the purpose. Like we're not doing that. Like I'm not letting you catch nothing, because once you catch it, it's a whole nother set of problems I got to deal with. So if I keep the ball out of your hands, so that was my strategy the whole game. And I remember Sticks ended up going crazy because we were supposed to initially double team the kid, and Sticks that game was just catching like every fast break. Like every 3 minutes he was on a fast break, like launching the ball out to him, like get a block, pop the ball out, whatever, and was just a champion at that outlet pass, man. And I would outlet pass that ball, either him or Derek would catch that thing, man, and break. If Derek caught the ball, it's basically like you see dust coming up behind him.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, we out there with Isaiah, Marcus, Mouse, and they be out there drilling them, killing them. Like, yo, bro, get out on these cats. And I remember that game was just one of the ones that it was like, all right, we needed you to do that, and you did that. Even coach after the game, Zach, everybody else was like, all right, bro, like this is what we tell you. You got to play like that every time, no matter who it is. Because at that point, like I was always used to being the smaller kid, you know what I mean? So I was getting pushed around all over the place. So as I started getting bigger and bigger and bigger, I got the height, but then I started getting the weight to it. And then, started getting that coordination locked in. And it was like, oh, now I got you. Now I know what I can do. So I'd be trying to catch dunks too, like these other guys was. I was like, I'm trying to catch some. catch somebody, and then move on from that. But I remember that game against Catholic Memorial, I think it was, and we was out there playing. Tony Lee had killed it that game too. He was out there just drilling things, and it was like, bro, like we can shoot, like we still got shooters. Like, yeah, those cats graduated. We ain't got Rasheed, but we got shooters still, man. Like, really, all those cats. So it's like you could always pass the ball to somebody, and if they were open, that was the thing with our team. If we gave somebody the ball and they were open, 9 out of 10 times, bro, they were drilling it. So it's like it's not a contested shot. Like we most likely got that.
It's going down.
So cats would almost start turning around, running the other way. We saw a cat was open. Oh, he's open. All right, like, we got this. Head back the other way. Like, get ready for this turnaround, man. So it was a lot of stuff, bro. But like that was one of the ones that I remember like having to definitely step up and do all that stuff. And then like I'm telling you, like some of the best ball that we played, bro, was nothing that was like counted towards like the season or anything like that. It was always some off the wall, off the cuff game that we're playing somewhere. And it's like those were the games that tested us. So when we got in the season, bro, it was like showing up to work, man. Like we know we got this. Like that confidence level was there. Like, bro, we in the back eating sandwiches, playing around, got headphones in, like before all this hot stuff nowadays. Like we be sitting there like team eating, watching Hoosiers, bro, watching Hoop Dreams or something else. Like before we go play a championship game.
Right.
It's like everybody gets relaxed, everybody gets in the zone. You know what's expected of you. We love you, but you got to work now. I mean, so that's what that was.
Oh man, thank you, man. Super lit. That's dope. That's dope. Wow. What you got, P?
Wow. But out of the 4 years, what was your most memorable game? Out of your 4 years, winning 4 championships, like what was your highlight game that you was just like, yo, I went out and put in some work?
Was that Catholic Memorial game, and then there was a game that we played against Eastie. Because at that point, it was like,
at Charlestown or at Eastie?
I think we were playing at Charlestown. We had the spot lit again. Everybody, like Corey, those guys, they took off the year before. So that game was kind of like they're on their heels. We got to murder them game.
Right, right.
It's not what happened when they walked in the building. So it was just like, I remember that game just being like, I remember running so fast, bro. Like we run so many times in that gym. Like you could almost measure where every seat was. Like you knew where you were on the court without knowing where you were on the court. Like you knew exactly where you were. If you could turn around, pull up, take a shot, like you knew exactly where you were standing. You knew where every line was. And I remember that game, man, just zipping around everywhere. I was the first man up. I was the first man back. I'm breaking out towards the 3-point line, trying to get passes in, open up the lane so cats can fast break. Like just all these little things. And I remember that one of those last Eastie games that we played. And it was like, there was a little bit of animosity I felt like there was in the game, man. And it was just like the room was electric. Everything was just flowing. JB was going.
That rivalry is like nothing. It's like nothing other. It's nothing other like
man,
that. Not the city of Boston.
Did you lose to Eastie out of your in your 4 years?
I don't think there was one game we lost to Eastie.
Wow.
I don't think there's one game. There might be one. I don't want to say definitely, but I can't remember. The first 3 years, like, bro, it was virtually like undefeated. Like we didn't lose to anybody. So we were playing Division II, bro. We're beating Division I teams like Brookline, and they had Justin, who was a big old cat.
And Jeff, and Jeff Adrian. I think he was there at the time.
You know what I mean? So Brookline had a boat, and they had Justin, who's turning around out there, just running over everybody who's stepping out there with him. We got sticks. Isaiah, like, bro, we might not get through you, but we're gonna run around you. And that's like we always found a way. Like there was always a strategy. And that's what we thank the coaches for, bro. Like their insight into the game, they're wanting us to get better and all that other stuff. Like everything bled into what we accomplished. There's not one single thing that I could go back and be like, this was the one thing that we did. It was the key to everything. Bro, it was a sum of all those like basic things, that foundation, it what led to everything that you saw and everything that came after, bro. Even when we left, when I graduated and left, like they balled out that next year too. You know what I mean? So obviously something was working, you know what I mean?
Right, all right.
So it's like you got to stick with that formula, stick with the plan. Things change over time, but at the end of the day, like that sequence that we went through, I credit it to all the guys that came before us. The Hughes, the Ians, like, you know, the Sean's and everybody, bro. Like those, you came before us, bro. So when I got there, I remember my first alumni game, bro. I'm like, oh, these cats can jump through the roof, man. I thought I could jump now, but
the alumni games used to be, man.
And so I'm sitting in there, like when we get our first rings, I'm like, oh wow, this is what it feels like to get a ring, and it's like, that's what sets your mentality for that to be like, oh yeah, you know what? Yeah, I know what it takes to get this now. So nothing else is gonna be good enough unless we meet this threshold. And every subsequent year, meeting that threshold and getting there, bro. Like I can't tell you how much like every single championship game that we won, I can't tell you how much any one of those things mean to me, bro. That last one was the most important one because that was the one I wasn't supposed to get. So that one meant the most. That was the one we weren't supposed to have. We weren't supposed to be there. People would basically writing us off, and we ain't even supposed to be in the same room. Guess what? We in the room and we took it going. So now,
four-time state champion, ladies and gentlemen, on the Talk Your Shit Sports Podcast, man. And speaking of teams and people who are probably being overlooked in terms of winning a championship, right now, man, like nobody saw the Phoenix Suns. I mean, on the verge of making the NBA Finals, man. I want to know what you think about that, and I want to know what you think about the development of Ayton and how important Chris Paul is.
Oh yeah, Chris Paul obviously. Self-explanatory. I give him that. But as far as the finals, I've been blown away, man. The Bucks, I thought the Bucks were going to be doing a little bit better than they were. Giannis is doing his thing, but he's obviously being helped out, but he ain't quite to where the level I think he should be.
Middleton is looking. He's carrying him.
Yeah,
I mean, he needs
but that goes to show you, like, as
Big
far
Perk
as
Big Perk was like Giannis is Robin and Middleton's Batman.
Yeah.
Because Giannis had a couple little nice things. I remember it was something he did. He did like crossover and then like ended up finger rolling it in the middle. After like it was like 3 contested shots he took, and then finger rolled it at the end. And I was like, all right, do that every time, you'll be good. I was like, but bro, you ain't got it every time. Every other time you're doing something different. But I think Phoenix, man, that's where I'm leaning, man. Trae Young's out there. He's killing them. I know he's got the little injury or whatever is going now, but so I'm hoping he does the treatment for that. I had the little ankle break my senior year too, so I know that it's not an easy injury to come back from. But man, listen, if he can get it together and just come back at the fraction of what he's at, I still see them getting it.
How you feel about Paul George and Kawhi, man, on the Clippers, man, and Ty Lue? What's your perspective on them?
Yeah, man. So as far as Kawhi, I know he's trying to come back now, but I feel like my man, it's a little bit too late. Might have to hang it up till next year. Try to come back at it. The timing sucks, circumstances suck. You didn't want to end up like that, but we got to take it with a grain of salt, man. But I think the NBA a lot, especially what's going on with them right now. Once they get back into like a full season, where those guys can be in shape and be ready to play like that. I think there's going to be a lot of teams that surprise you too. But for right now, I think the Suns have my bet on taking the whole thing.
Yeah, you got the Suns. I got the Suns are getting rings. Going back to Phoenix.
Like that cat in the video, Suns and 4. Handing out right hooks and uppercuts. Suns and 4. Like, all right, they want it. They're more hungry. They're hungry, bro. They want it. Right. And that's what you've seen in like LeBron and them should have been in there, but bro, you're seeing this is what the playoff basketball is, man. Like everybody pick who they think's going. You might have the best team, best lineup, and everything else, but if things don't line up for you at that tail end of the season, bro, it's up in the air, man. Like you get underdogs in here winning all day. Right. So it is what it is. But I think the Suns right now is poised to be the best thing because I mean.
Yeah, I think they're the most full, complete team and some healthy team right now in the playoff, and that's why I'm leaning towards the Suns. And I think me and Perk, like, because Perk, his predictions been kind of right. My predictions,
he's been on it.
Me and Perk are right here, neck and neck. Because if you replay some couple of episodes before the season started, I said that the Suns will be in the mix of things in the playoff, making some noise. But yeah, Perk, man, listen, man, we gotta put some money up, man. We betting good.
Oh, listen, man, I'm tuning into y'all, so I'm getting all the inside scoop.
Appreciate you, big dog.
I'm getting all that. I'm getting everything in there. I'm like, I see what these guys talk about.
All right, man. We're coming to an end, man, because I definitely want to keep you all night. I know you got the family to look after, man. But right now, I mean, I hope a lot of the Charlestown guys are listening, because I'm gonna put you on the spot, man. Who's your
man? Listen, man.
Who's your all-time Charlestown five that you would like to play with, if you can pick your starting five? All time.
All time.
I need Tony Chapman at the 1. That's easy. Damn, man, that's tough, bro. At the 2, I'll take Rashid at the 2. He's got that. He earned that. You got that all day. At the 3, I'm gonna have to take my man. I'm gonna have to take El Ray at the 3. El Ray, Corey at the 3.
So that's a big team right there. If you have El Ray.
Yeah, I gotta have El Ray and Corey at the 3. I can't.
So
I'm gonna lean towards Corey because Corey's family.
Okay.
So is that 4? Is that 4? You got 4.
No, so I'll put him at the 3. I'll put Richard Jones at the 4. Rest in peace, Richard. I'll put him at the 4. He's one of the, like, that man can jump through the roof. Like, he hit threes, but don't sleep on that dunk, boy. Catch you sleeping. Man threw the ball off the wall, caught an alley off the wall. One of the first ones I've seen. I was like, all right, you're different. You got that. And then at the 4, I'll put Richard. And then, damn, man, it's so tough, bro, because for every position, man, like, we got like 2, 3 cats you can put there. It'd be equally as good. So I don't want to shortchange nobody. Damn, at the 5, I'd have to put Jimmy or Sticks in there at the 5. I'd probably rather Sticks because he's a little bit. That'd be a fast team, man.
So your 5
Sticks can move, man.
So your 5 is beating any other Charlestown 5.
I feel like my 5 will.
Yeah.
Yeah, my 5 will run that.
That's a big 5.
No, because bro, like,
it's a guaranteed dub, ladies and gentlemen.
Practice, bro. I've seen it in practice, man. And those guys were some of the hardest guys to beat in practice. You can't beat them. So, like I'm saying, man, like, any one of those positions that I can come up with, like, probably 3 or 4 different teams of top 5 guys to be like, if you put these, and each one of them would be just as deadly as the last one. So, not trying to knock nobody, but those are the first guys that come to mind, man. But, like, our team, bro, like, even at the 3, bro, if you had Keith One on there or Frank Finkley on there at the 4 or the 3, like, you can interchange these guys. And that was the thing that made us deadly, bro. It didn't matter what your number was, 1, 2, like.
It didn't matter. Y'all were getting body, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, so it didn't matter, man. We had every position on lock.
Last one, man. Who's your GOAT? Who's your greatest all time? You got Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, Mike Tyson, Deion Sanders. You name it. Who's any athlete? Who's your greatest of all time?
Gotta hit that Tom Brady, man. I know he left us that last one, but my man left and still went and got it. So, you can't hate on that, man. I'm home team all day. Red Sox, Bruins, you know what I mean? Patriots, bro, Celtics. Like, I'm home team all day, but Tom Brady, he got that one, man. He got that. And then as far as basketball goes, you know, MJ he still got the highlight reel. My man LeBron, people need to respect my man. People need to respect that man and what he brings to the game. I understand it's easy to hate on him, but
talk this shit, big dog.
You can't front on that. The man's been putting it down longer than anybody else did. He put it down longer than Jordan did. Like, he's still out here, and he's still out here killing folks.
What is he, 30, going on 36 or going 37?
Sticks told the story about when we went and played in Delaware, slam dunk to the beach. We rode on the bus for like hours into the middle of nowhere to go play basketball somewhere. And it was one of the tournaments that ranked us, I think, 16th in the nation at the time. But, like, Sticks was out there, LeBron was out there, all these, like, McDonald's, like, and all these all-star cats was out there, bro. And, like, Sticks ended up going to the hospital. LeBron ended up having a cold or something that weekend too, so he was also at the hospital. So when he got there, they thought it was LeBron. It was like messing around with him and all that other stuff. But, like, seeing those guys play, bro, like, being a part of that, that's what I'm telling you. Like, basketball opened up so many windows, so you get to look into what that greatness is. So I watched LeBron play when he was in high school, bro, and guess what? He's still the baddest man out here doing his thing and killing everybody. So you got to spread love for that and everything else he does for the community and everybody else, bro.
Salute.
Easy to hate on him during the game. But Yeah, man got accolades and he got receipts.
Facts. Yeah. Adilson, man, before we get out of here, man, a lot of young hoopers, man, all the young coaches are watching this episode, man. What is some wisdom, some motivation that you want to leave the folks with tonight?
You can't cheat the grind, man. You got to work for everything you get. And that's what Charlestown, my man Tony Leach said it best, man. Like, there's no way that you ever worked hard and thought anything was gonna be easy, bro. Like, it don't work that way. So work hard, give it your all. When you think you don't have enough, guess what? You got more in the tank. So just keep pushing. You'll be all right. Like, it sucks to go through it, but you got to embrace that, man. Just, sometimes the only way out is through. Just keep pushing. You got a dream. You got something you want to go for. Don't let nobody stop you. Go for that. And it's gospel because I've seen it. You know what I mean? So some of my old teammates, some of my friends in life, you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, that difference, that small difference is who wants it more. And you know what I mean? That's got to be it. You got to want it more. Stay focused, stay disciplined. Everything will fall into place. Just got to stick with it. Stick with the program.
Stick with it. P, what you got?
That's dope. I have, if you want to fly, give up everything that weighs you down. I mean, that's for everybody, man. Anything that's weighing you down and it's not helping you grow, like, let that shit go and just fly, man. Reach your highest heights, man, and just accomplish everything that you want to accomplish in life.
Facts, yeah, man. Facts. Adilson, I know you mentioned this, early on, and I think this is truly just important for all athletes, just anyone in any career industry, man, is effort. I mean, you have to be able to have a bad day, have a bad game, and come back the next day. Learn from your mistakes and put the effort in. I mean, that's the only way you can continuously develop and continuously get better to understand where you can be an asset, either in your organization or on your team, in that game, because your effort is really going to just take you to new heights. So yeah, man, that's what I got for all the young hoopers, all the young football players, baseball players, whoever's out there, man. Give your maximum effort. P, you want to close us out with the what the fuck moment you got? What you got?
Yeah, what the fuck moment is, the pitchers and the sticky Empire stopping them, searching them. Like, come on, let's play baseball, man. Let's play baseball. I was watching the highlights of it was the Phillies and Nationals. My guy, what's my guy's name over there in the National? Forgot my guy's name, but he's been a dominant pitcher for the last couple of years. Won a World Series. Matt Scherzer. He's been killing it, and he's getting frisked. He's getting frisked while getting off the field, man. Like, come on, cut this shit. Let the guys play baseball, man. Stop that cheating shit too, man. Just play baseball.
Just play baseball. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Talk Your Shit Sports Podcast. You can find us on YouTube, on Anchor, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Find us on Facebook, Talk Your Shit Sports Podcast, and follow us on Instagram, Talk Your Shit Sports Podcast. We got a legend here tonight. Salute to you, to your journey. Really appreciate you, big dog. I mean, congratulations on your family. And you are always welcome here on this platform, man. And shout out to JB too for calling in.
He's a go with that one.
And locking in with that one. Our correspondent from Texas. I mean, ladies and gentlemen. But we'll see y'all next week. We got some amazing more journeys to share all throughout the summer, going to the fall. So please lock in with us, man. And have a good one, ladies and gentlemen. Peace.